WWE has made the decision to release over 50 of their superstars, 50 plus superstars from their roster. But today we now have some news that WWE has opened up the checkbook to sign the Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about this because some people are saying that Gable is the next Kurt Angle. And yes, he does have big shoes to fill. Will he succeed? Should we remain optimistic about this signing? And biggest thing that we need to discuss when it comes to this, guys, is WWE's new strategy when it comes to talent development, because this could very well be a massive decision for WWE that ends up being really good for them, or it could be a terrible decision that ends up costing them absolutely everything. And Gable Steveson is going to have an immense amount of pressure. So we are going to discuss that in today's video. Is he truly the next Kurt Angle? And most importantly, I want to know what you guys think. So if you guys want to support this channel, the best way to do so is by clicking that subscribe button, ringing the bell. This way you could get notified on all the latest content right here on Destination PW. And don't forget, we have a Discord server, so go ahead and check out the link in the description down below. But before we could talk about Gable Steveson, because that is going to be an incredibly important topic, some people may not even understand how important this signing is. We got to take a look at WWE and some of its decisions, some of the things that WWE is doing, because WWE is changing course. And it could very well be a great decision, or it could be a flop. So, if you guys don't know, WWE pretty much reportedly decided that they are no longer going to be pursuing indie talent when it comes to signing them to WWE or the NXT brand. And that right here is a very interesting decision, because if you go back to before WWE started signing a massive amount of indie talent, pretty much before they killed the indie market, WWE was in a scenario where they were signing people left and right and creating new stars. They use the NXT brand as a developmental brand, and they use this brand very well. I think there's nobody, especially in this community, in the internet wrestling community, I don't think there's anybody that can actually deny how good WWE did when they were doing well with NXT. Then some reason WWE decided to sign a whole bunch of indie wrestlers and basically make NXT its third brand, and all it really was essentially PWG with a television deal. Then they decided to go head-to-head with AEW, which, of course, pretty much led us to this point. So WWE loses to AEW on Wednesday nights. It was very clear that their strategy of trying to compete with them was not a smart strategy, and WWE kind of shifted their focus from everything that was working to something that doesn't work at all. And that is kind of the reason why I think Gable Steveson is a great signing for WWE. Now, if you guys don't know, Gable Steveson is a collegiate athlete who pretty much dominated the world of college wrestling and then, of course, dominated the Olympics. Gable Steveson really started to pick up mainstream attention when it was being said that he was actually in talks with companies like Bellator or UFC. There was talks about him going into other wrestling promotions as well. But Gable Steveson was found multiple times in WWE. He was backstage. He was, in the front row at SummerSlam. Like, these are things that people immediately took notice, and a lot of people, especially in the world of MMA and mainstream sports, were talking about this because a lot of people didn't know which route he would go. Now, some people were arguing that it was a better idea for him to go to UFC or Bellator because those are legitimate sports in their eyes. For me, I always believe that Gable Steveson, if he were to sign anywhere, he should sign with WWE. And this is mainly due to the fact that if you look at how well Brock Lesnar did in the UFC, I don't think he would have actually been that great in WWE had he not gone to WWE first. You see, that's the thing about Brock Lesnar. He went to WWE, he made a name known for himself, and then he went into MMA. When he went into MMA and then debuted on UFC, became a UFC champion, it was very clear that he took the correct route. There's no doubt in my mind that Gable Steveson will eventually find his way in MMA. And I think that's a great thing for WWE. WWE is in a situation where they no longer have to focus on signing indie talent, and I think it's even better for WWE if Gable Steveson goes on to WWE programming and immediately makes a big name for himself. WWE has the opportunity to do something very similar to what they've done with someone like Roman Reigns. Now, by no means am I saying that Gable Steveson is as talented as Roman Reigns. We don't know how he's going to transition in WWE. But with that being said, if Gable Steveson can become a big name for WWE, he goes on to UFC and eventually becomes a UFC champion, it's going to look really, really good on WWE for bringing him to the mainstream spotlight. And that's exactly what WWE, without them telling us this is exactly what I expect WWE to be doing in the near future. So, Gable Steveson goes to WWE. Now, the real question is, will we see him on NXT? Will we see Gable Steveson on, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown? Will we see Gable Steveson become a Paul Heyman guy? Like, these are things that nobody really knows, but when you start having the conversation, just like people are having right now, if you search for Gable Steveson on Twitter, people are saying that Gable is going to be a guy that is going to essentially make a name known for himself in WWE, and he is going to become the next Kurt Angle. That is an immense amount of pressure for a guy who has no WWE or indie wrestling background. But when you look at his collegiate wrestling background, when you look at what he did in the Olympics, the reason why he won the gold medal is because he was the best in the world. And that is a true statement. That is factual. That's not an opinion. He clearly dominated the Olympics. Now, as a fan of AEW, as a fan of WWE and Impact and New Japan, I think there is something for everybody. AEW can be the pro wrestling company. WWE can be the sports entertainment company. But if WWE is going to be the sports entertainment company, they need to do right by Gable Steveson. There was a lot of issues people had with WWE when they signed former UFC champion Cain Velasquez. We all saw Cain Velasquez go on to AAA. He was wearing a mask, came to WWE, had like a match or two, and then was released shortly after. WWE had all the opportunity in the world to do something with Cain, and they did nothing with him. Now, because of that, I have a little bit of, mixed feelings about this, because I like Gable Steveson. I think he has the look to be a superstar. I think he could be a great champion for WWE without even seeing him inside of a WWE ring. But when you make a signing like this and you get rid of guys like Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman, you really have to be wondering what WWE is doing here, and they are absolutely gambling right now. They are gambling. They are throwing all of their chips on black and red, and they're going all in with the deck of cards that they have. This could very well work out. This very well cannot work out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is some pretty exciting stuff, because if WWE is going back to the things that they know very well, then I think we're going to get a better WWE. And it sucks that this means we're going to lose some of those indie wrestlers that signed with WWE, but we all want a competitive wrestling world, and the only way to get there is if you do what is best for your company. So while I would hate to see guys like Kevin Owens leave WWE, I would love to see him in AEW. I think this would just be a lot better for WWE's product and overall company in the long term. So they signed Gable Steveson. I'm very curious to see what happens here, but yes, you best believe mainstream media is already picking it up, and ESPN is talking about it, and everybody's talking about it. So therefore, it's a good signing for WWE. Hopefully they don't drop the ball. I don't want to see him on NXT. I want to see him train in the Performance Center in the background, and then WWE can do something special with him. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. For more pro wrestling news, rumors, and content, make sure you guys subscribe to Destination PW, and I'll see you guys next time.